All right, folks, welcome in to the latest edition of Three Dog Thursday, the show and the podcast on the Winning Cures Everything platforms, including the YouTube page. I am the somewhat competent host, TJ Rives. Welcome back to a guy that has been my wingman on many occasions on this show. Hello, Kevin Rogers. Have loved his work for a long time, not only on Three Dog Thursday, but Vegas Insider, Scores and Odds, etc. Gary Seeger's not able to be here because of other work duties on this Thursday afternoon. I got to go to the bullpen. Just like the Dodgers kept going to all those relievers to win the World Series, this is my ace right here, Kevin Rogers, who's done this so many different times. My Three Dog Thursday brother from another mother. Good to have you here on the program.
It's good to be back with you, TJ. You know, it's like anything else. Everything comes full circle. So it's good to be back with you, and excited for the underdogs, and hopefully get some winners this week.
And by the way, that's the polite way of saying I can't get rid of TJ, can I? He's just going to keep bringing me back on. Thank you for that.
TJ would have gone for two. He would have definitely gone for two.
Yes, on Monday night for the Buccaneers. Like that hasn't been a topic in my life for the last 3 days against the Chiefs. You spent a lot of time in Kansas City as well and gave me great barbecue recommendations before we headed off. Listen, great to have you back. We talk college football underdogs here. Gary and I got 3 of them correct last week. Thank you to actually 2 of them. We both had Vanderbilt, and I also had Washington over USC last week. So we strive to get you as many correct. I will tell you up front, Kevin and I have 6 of them today. We don't have one that we agree on. So you're going to get 6 different underdog plays simply to cover. Kevin, as we always say here as part of Gary's platform in Three Dog Thursday, it doesn't matter if the line goes up later today or tonight or Friday or Saturday, goes down. It's only the Thursday price that we're interested in. So something could come up where a line goes up or down 2 or 3 points. Doesn't matter. We're locking it in on Thursday, on Three Dog Thursday, and we've been having a lot of good success. Now we're into November. It's getting good. We really basically have about 3 weeks left of the regular season, 3-4 weeks, and then championship Saturday is going to be here. A lot of craziness. Hey, just as a general comment, Gary has preached this for several weeks. This is very reminiscent to him, and I think I agree. 2007 was such a crazy year, and you're only going to have 2 teams end up in the BCS championship game. And that year, both of those teams, LSU and Ohio State, had 2 losses going into the title game. Is it just that crazy again this year, 17 years later, where we really don't know who are going to be the Final 4 in the college football playoff, who are going to be the teams in the title game? I keep saying you could make a case for 10, 12 or more teams to be in the title game. Do you agree?
Yes, and also, thankfully, it took enough time to get from 2 to 4 to 12 now. And, you know, there's a lot of conversation last year about Florida State, would they be in? Alabama was in. And, you know, we're always going to have that topic of, oh, well, the 5th and 6th team's going to complain. Now we're going to the 13th and 14th team complain. Sorry, if you're the 13th or 14th team, you have no room to complain. Like, that's it. 12 is a good cap, and you will get some fantastic matchups, I feel like, every weekend leading up to that Final 4 and then the national championship. But it's been great, you know, with all of the conference realignments, seeing Oregon go to the Big Ten, they're number 1 in the country, seeing what Texas has done, going to the SEC, that it really has been great. And a lot of these teams have beaten each other up. So really, you don't have to be undefeated anymore to win the national championship. But you're going to have a lot of really good teams with maybe 1 loss that will be fighting it out.
And you're going to have several teams when it's all said and done that are in this playoff that have 2 losses. Stand by, just because, as you mentioned, the SEC, Big Ten, Big 12, so stacked that you're going to possibly get a 2-loss team out of those conferences that's in there that wins a game or 2. So stand by for that part. I love Kevin's insight. Again, if you're only hearing us on the Three Dog Thursday podcast, come see the video show on Gary's Winning Cures Everything platform, the YouTube page, winningcureseverything.com. Love the insight of Kevin Rogers, and we've waited long enough. 3 underdogs from each of us. You're going to lead things off with an early game with a team that has really struggled right now. It's an interesting subplot game for Rutgers and Minnesota. Why are you beginning there on Three Dog Thursday? Go ahead.
I'm just excited about holding up the card. That's really my excitement here.
He already knows that he's got Schiano and Rutgers plus the 6. He couldn't wait to hold the card up. A lot of times we hold the card up at the end. He's going right away. He's been seeing the cards and holding up the cards. Get that closer to the screen there for the video audience to your left a little, right there. All right, why are you backing Rutgers, who has really struggled in the Big Ten? They're injured. Why are you backing the Scarlet Knights in an early game with Minnesota?
All right, couple things here. Number one, when you look at the Scarlet Knights coming off of the bye, so that's good. I guess they drove back from Southern California after that 42-20 loss to the Trojans a few weeks ago. But, they started off with the win over Washington in Big Ten play, and then things kind of fell apart offensively. They scored 7 against Nebraska, 7 against Wisconsin. They lost that game to UCLA by 3 at home where they were favored, and then USC blew them out, and USC has not had a good season at all. But still a tough trip. It was a late kickoff out west, just a tough game for Rutgers. So trying to get on track. First time they're a home underdog rather this season. When you look at PJ Fleck and the row the boat, the Gophers, look, they had a bit of a slow start, but they picked it up of late. They've won 4 in a row. Good win at Illinois last week. A couple road wins recently over Illinois and UCLA. Also, they pummeled Maryland. They had a good home underdog win against USC. They lost a close game to Michigan. That was a game they were down most of the game and made it interesting at the end. But they've covered 5 in a row. But all of a sudden now you go from a 3-point favorite at Illinois, now laying nearly a touchdown against Rutgers. I think after the bye, the Scarlet Knights, everybody's banged up at this point. But I think Rutgers can get it together here and stay within a touchdown. And we'll see if Minnesota can keep this up. This has been a stretch for them that we haven't seen. And they haven't been really a great heavy road favorite under PJ Fleck. A couple times they've won again as a field goal favorite, but now laying nearly a touchdown. I think that's asking a lot. Let's take the points with Greg Schiano on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And
PJ Fleck, a former Schiano assistant at Rutgers, a former Schiano assistant in the NFL with the Buccaneers, and then Fleck went to Northern Illinois and now has gotten to Minnesota. But you believe in Rutgers. Hold that card up one more time. You're getting 6 points for Three Dog Thursday purposes with Schiano and Rutgers in the matchup in the Big Ten coming early on Saturday. All right, I also like an early game, and a lot of times we talk on this show, as you like to say, what's the spot, and also is the wrong team favored? And I got both things here. I got a great spot for Syracuse off a couple of wins. I got a Boston College team that has lost 3 games in a row. They're coming off of a bye as well. Syracuse with a nice win against Virginia Tech. They did have a bad loss to Pitt where their quarterback ended up throwing 3 interceptions in the first half of the game. 2 of them got run back for touchdowns. But this is a Q's team that has gotten a win at UNLV earlier in the year. They also have a win over Virginia. I think the wrong team is favored in the ACC early on Saturday at Chestnut Hill at Boston College. I'm holding the card up for Syracuse. Give me the Q's. +2 here. They're going to win the game, and I don't understand why they're not laying points in this situation. Do you have any thought there? This is kind of middling teams, although Syracuse has a chance to really mess it up for Miami in the very last game of the regular season with the Canes undefeated. Kevin is based in South Florida, in and around there. Any thought on Syracuse, Boston College, real quick?
I really believe it can go either way. You've seen what Boston College has done, and played well at times, not so much other times. Same thing with Syracuse, and they had a good win over Georgia Tech earlier this year at home. But again, it's a total toss-up for me. I don't really have a feel on either side.
And again, for Syracuse, it's been a bizarre schedule crisscrossing the country, and you have to do this now in the ACC. But earlier in the year, they did go out and play UNLV at UNLV. They now will have to play Cal at Cal next week as well for West Coast trips. Let's see if LaQuint Allen can run the ball some. Of course, Kyle McCord, the Ohio State transfer, is the quarterback. I just like this early. I only need the Q's to win. Look at me back in Syracuse on Three Dog Thursday for underdog number 1. Again, we love the insight of Kevin Rogers here as part of Three Dog Thursday. And give me a second underdog. What are you looking for? And are you looking the way of a Big 12 matchup?
I am. Do I have to wait on the card here, or can I do it now?
You could. You know what? If you want to preempt your own pick and just stick the card up and tell me why, do it. It's your world. I'm just visiting. It's like Wheel of Fortune and reveal the puzzle. Rock, chalk it, plus the 3 for the Kansas Jayhawks with Iowa State. What's up here?
All right, couple things. Number 1, the game's in Kansas City at Arrowhead because they've been working on KU Stadium, so the game is not in Lawrence necessarily. But with that being said, Iowa State off their first loss of the season, so maybe a little vulnerable here, losing last week to Texas Tech. They were 13.5-point favorites against UCF. Barely won that game, probably should have lost. 13.5-point favorites against Texas Tech, lost outright. So you kind of wonder here, you only have to lay less than a field goal here, around a field goal with the Cyclones. It's going to be easy. And Kansas also off the bye, off a tough loss to their rival Kansas State in the Sunflower Showdown back a few weeks ago. They were off a good one over Houston before that. So KU's playing a little bit better. Got to give them that. And they lost a close game to Arizona State. They lost a close game to West Virginia, close game to UNLV. They've been in a lot of these games, just about getting over the hump. And not like it matters. I understand in today's world of college football, transfers, NIL, all this other stuff, that it's impossible. Even looking back at last year, 2 years ago, historical, it doesn't mean much. But Kansas has beaten Iowa State the last 2 seasons, both as an underdog. They won last year in Ames against Iowa State. They won 2 years ago in Lawrence in an ugly game, 14-11. So KU's had their number a little bit. And I think too off the bye that they have an opportunity here. And Iowa State, we'll see where their head's at, because at this point, still in the college football playoff conversation in that tough Big 12, but they can't afford a loss. But at the same time, seems a little easy. I don't like it when it's too easy. So let's go with the Jayhawks here. Rock chalk it one more time. Rock chalk Jayhawks.
Put the card
all right.
And again for Iowa State.
There we go.
Yeah, it's all
Hang
good.
On a second, because I took you off. Hang on.
I just want to make sure.
Can I tell you something? I want to tell you one thing really quick, TJ, before we continue. I am terrible at the phone thing, trying to get the QR code. I cannot do it for the life of me. I try to center it. I can't do it. So this is the same thing here. I'm like this. I'm all over the place.
The card is good right there. Rock chalk plus the 3. You're fine, babe. We got no QR codes on this show, although we do have a sponsor, Ticket Smarter, and we want you to use those promo codes that are down there on the bottom. I'll tell you about them a little more in just a second. And again, for Iowa State, what a gut punch. They were looking to be 8-0 for the first time ever last week. And they falter down the stretch in that game and let Texas Tech, who I'm going to talk about more in a few minutes, get in front of them. Texas Tech ends up scoring in the final 30 seconds with kind of the trick play where they line 4 guys, including the quarterback, up to the left, and the running back ran to the right out of the shotgun and fooled them on the goal line to get the win. So a great win there that derailed Iowa State's unbeaten season. Is there a hangover? Kevin thinks so. Against Kansas with Devin Neal at quarterback, Devin Neal at running back, Jalen Daniels the quarterback. Are they going to have something at Arrowhead? I was just at Arrowhead Monday night. Hopefully the field in a little better shape after the rain and the Monday night game, etc. Cold this time of year as well in Kansas, and he rock chalks it. And if you're looking to go to that game, any of these games we've talked about, we're going to obviously make mention of Alabama LSU, which is a massive one. Indiana, Michigan, huge. In Bloomington, any of these huge games. Georgia at Ole Miss in the SEC, on and on. I'm going to talk about Colorado, Texas Tech in Lubbock in a little bit. Any of those big games, use Ticket Smarter, our Ticket Smarter mobile app, and the promo code WCE10 for any purchase $100 or more. Take $10 off with WCE10. Take $20 off for a purchase, Kevin, and for the audience of $300 or more. You're not going to get a pair of the good seats in Baton Rouge or Oxford or even Bloomington, Indiana for under $300. A pair of the good seats with Michigan coming in. Are you kidding me? The good seats. Take advantage of the Ticket Smarter mobile app. Your purchase is safe and secure. It'll take less than a couple of minutes to sign up. Your purchase is guaranteed. Best prices on the secondary market with their algorithm. We love it. Ticket Smarter. Get in the game. Think Smarter, Ticket Smarter. Promo codes WCE10 for $100 or more purchase. $300 or more purchase. Take $20 off with WCE20 and Ticket Smarter. All right, so I am going with game number 2. I'm going to stay in the state of Texas. I'll talk more about Texas Tech in a little bit. Let me talk North Texas and Army. You always go the American Conference when we're around. I feel slighted a bit here that I had to go to the AAC, the American Conference, because for years you would say, because it's all about the American Athletic Conference. Instead, I'm going there for North Texas and unbeaten Army. Army is unbeaten this late in a year since was Kevin in grade school? I'm not sure. 1995, I believe, is the last time.
High school.
1995 is the last time that Army is this deep in a year, 7-0 or better. All right, so they're at North Texas, a team that has been a high-scoring team throughout this season. I'm interested to see what they can do in this matchup. They did lose to Tulane in a game where they did not cover, lost by 8, getting 7 last week. They covered against my Memphis Tigers in a wild game that they lost 52-44. I mean, the thing about North Texas, they keep both teams in the game. They score a ton. They give up a ton. They have a 41-37 win over Florida Atlantic. Earlier this year, they played against South Alabama, beat them 52-38, covering a 6-point number. Scored 52 on Tulsa, covering a 7-point number and a 52-20 win. I like them as the home the dog here. I know Army has got a great season in progress. Army looming maybe for the college football playoff, believe it or not. I don't believe in them here, Kevin. I think this is Chandler Morris, the quarterback, and the Mean Green of North Texas. Give me them Saturday afternoon in Denton. There's the card, plus the 5.5 with North Texas, the Green Eagles, or the Mean Green against Army. That game on CBS Sports Network, by the way, Saturday afternoon, 2:30 Central Time. Any thought here that Army could be the fly in the ointment? If I am wrong, they have Notre Dame looming. That's not going to be easy. But Army could be a real upstart in the college football playoff. I don't think they are, but any thought here on Army and or this game?
No, I mean, with Army, I find it so interesting that the possibility was there that Army could have played Navy 2 straight weeks. That would have been really fun if they would have played in the AAC championship and then again in their
and then the game, right? The Army-Navy game.
Yeah, the following week. But Army keeps doing it, and I don't know who's going to slow them down. North Texas can, over the years, we know they can move the ball up and down the field. So we'll see if they can try to do that against Army. But if they can find a way to slow the Army offense down, maybe North Texas has a shot here.
They just haven't slowed anybody down. I'm almost got to go with the philosophy of outscore them if they can. And again, for Army, they come in off of a win over Air Force in the Commander-in-Chief's game a couple of weeks ago. They've had a bye week. They won that one 20-3. Again, they smoked UAB, Alabama Birmingham, 44-10 earlier this year. Bryson Daly is the quarterback. He has only thrown at this point for 629 yards all year. He's run for 900 yards. He can throw it a little bit, but he is the leading rusher on Army's team. I think this is North Texas again in the matchup. And one more time on Winning Cures Everything's platforms for the video audience. There's the card, North Texas plus the 5.5 in the matchup with Army Saturday afternoon. All right, one more underdog for each of us. Where do you want to go for one final underdog? Are you looking the way of the Big Ten again?
2 Big Ten rivals, just like I like it, Maryland and Oregon. There we go.
Fade the Ducks, he's got in parentheses for the podcast audience that's not able to see the card. All right, Oregon's been a freight train. Why are you going against them for Three Dog Thursday here?
I think just scheduling spot. That I talk about situations over the years, TJ, and I just feel like the scheduling spot for Oregon, they're off that 3-touchdown win at Michigan. I get Michigan's down this year. Then they go to Wisconsin next, and then they have Washington after that. And I understand Washington is down too. It's still a big old Pac-12 rivalry now in the Big Ten coming up. So I think there's a chance maybe you overlook Maryland here. The Terps are 4-4 in the season. They are off a 25-point loss to Minnesota. And when I look back at what they've gotten this year, they got 6 against Minnesota, 7.5 at Indiana. They won outright at Virginia's 3-point dogs. Now you're getting a ton. And I know Oregon with Dylan Gabriel and that offense, they could score. Like it's not really breaking news there. But at the same time, Maryland did beat USC as a touchdown underdog. Both their wins this year are as an underdog. I think just getting this many points, there's not a lot of bad things to say about the Ducks at this point. And what they've done defensively, allowing 26 points the last 3 games. But at the same time, though, I just wonder here, not how much are you up for this, but a couple big games on the horizon for Oregon. This is a ton of points to lay here. I'm going to go with the Terps. I'm going to take them here in this long trip out west to face the Ducks. It's a 7 o'clock Eastern game, 4 o'clock Pacific, so it's not a crazy time for them either. So let's go with Maryland as our final.
There's the final card. One. Yeah, there's the final one. The Terps fade the Ducks as much as anything else. And again, what a role for Dylan Gabriel and this team where they have scored, if my math is correct, 31 or more, right, in the last 8 games, 31 or more. You believe that Maryland can at least put a couple of touchdowns on the board to combat that with as many points as you're getting. And it's just bizarre to watch Oregon playing at the Big House or to watch USC playing at Minnesota, and we're calling these conference games. For God's sake, Friday night, Iowa's at UCLA. That used to be my Rose Bowl, as I say on these shows, and now it's a Big Ten regular season game, Kevin. Just a quick comment from me. I can't get used to this stuff. I can't reconcile a lot of it, but, here we are with Cal playing at Florida State, or now Oklahoma's playing South Carolina in an SEC game. I guess we've lived long enough, and we got to see it come to fruition.
Well, and also, too, you had Arizona travel to UCF for a conference game. I mean, this is what it's turned into, and it's good and bad. I mean, I understand the whole rivalry thing. It kind of dies a little bit. Washington State have to play a non-conference game. Same thing with Oklahoma State if they ever redo Bedlam. It kind of stinks a little bit, but this is the new age, and it's turning into, I don't want to say pro sports, but this is what happens in the pros, that you go east to west. Now you don't have that regional stuff anymore, and this is what it is, unfortunately.
It's great. The money is so great, and then the crisscrossing of the country to play all of these games with all of these different matchups. It's, Stanford playing at the Carrier Dome earlier this year in Syracuse. Get used to it, folks. It's crazy what we've been watching. All right, one more underdog to go. That's the voice of Kevin Rogers. TJ Rives with you. If you're only hearing us on the podcast, come find the video show. We are cohabitating on the Winning Cures Everything platforms, winningcureseverything.com, and the Winning Cures YouTube page. Again, Gary Seeger's away this week. He's got other work duties. He's typically here with me. Kevin does a great job with everything he does. I look forward to leaning on him more on Three Dog Thursday via the web, via the YouTube page, etc. And he's hanging with me here. We did this for so many years. He's a great handicapper, too. That's why he's here. Pay attention, kids. Pay attention. All right, one more game to go. Let me just ask you flat out before I handicap the game. Are you believing in the turnaround for Colorado and Deion Sanders? They've won 6 games now. Impressive win when last we saw them against Cincinnati. They were impressive in destroying Arizona at Arizona. Are you believing in them just in general, that they have it turned around at this point? What is your take on that before I handicap their game?
Do I think they've turned around? Yes. I have to say yes, because of how last year ended, and also they blew that Stanford game at home where they were up big, and they have the one win against Arizona State at the end. It really was underwhelming in Deion's first year, but they're getting good wins this year. I can't really take anything away from them. To see what Travis Hunter has done, and what does he play 98% of the snaps or whatever it is, and he does it at an elite level, that he's not just a guy that's out there defense. It's almost like an Ohtani thing. It feels like in college football, that you're great at both of them. You're a great pitcher, you're a great hitter. Same thing here. You're a great receiver and a great defensive back. So you're able to do all of this, not run out of gas. I got to give Colorado credit. Now, do I think they're going to win a national championship? No, but at least Deion does have it in the right direction. And also, we'll see if Deion stays after Shedeur Sanders is gone. After this year going to the NFL, we'll see if Deion rides it out. But at least he has made improvements this year.
Yeah, they have been better. They're now at 6-2. This is a fascinating game coming up at 3 Central Time Saturday in Lubbock against a Texas Tech team that we mentioned earlier in the show. Upset Iowa State last week. Joey McGuire, the former longtime Dallas high school coach, he has a great relationship with Deion. They are tight because Joey was actually filtering some players to Deion at Jackson State, for example. Texas Tech recruited his sons. Home visit by Joey McGuire recruiting his sons. So that's interesting for Deion. All right, but then there's hostilities, and I think that Baron Morton, the quarterback, Taj Brooks, the running back, they're going to be ready for Colorado. Going to be a wild atmosphere in Lubbock, and I believe they win the game outright. So give me the 4 points with Texas Tech. Yes, Colorado is improved. Yes, they've been impressive, but I think this is the Red Raiders knocking them off. Texas Tech and Colorado both still have some hope. Can we get in the Big 12 championship game picture? If there's plenty of carnage in front of us with 2 losses, can we get in the title game picture? I know Colorado believes that, but Tech off the win at Iowa State believes they might still be alive here. I will take Raider power here. Texas Tech at home on Three Dog Thursday. They played a couple of wild games at home, beat Cincinnati 44-41. The Bearcats missed a last-second field goal that would have put the game into overtime. They also barely beat Abilene Christian in the first game of the year in overtime, 52-51, had to stop a 2-point conversion. Speaking of 2-point conversions, to win that game, this could be an equally tight game. I'll take the 4 points one more time with the Red Raiders on Three Dog Thursday. We have a couple of moments left. We did not touch on the afternoon game, Indiana-Michigan. We've lived long enough. Indiana, a 2-touchdown underdog. I'm sorry, Michigan, a 2-touchdown underdog at Indiana. Talk about topsy-turvy. Indiana undefeated, a huge favorite. Any thought on that, even though we're not going on the record on that game for Three Dog Thursday? Any thought, Kevin Rogers?
I just want to give you these numbers, which are kind of astounding. 2021, Michigan was a 21-point favorite against Indiana, won by 22. 2022, Michigan was a 22-point favorite, won by 21. Last 31.5-point favorite, won 52-7. So how the times have changed with these two. And for Curt Cignetti, who left James Madison, built James Madison up, and left to go to Indiana, I believe, what was it, at one of the basketball games last year, whenever it was, he was introduced to the crowd. He said something like, we're going to be in the Big Ten title game. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, what are you talking about? This guy's, they're 9-0. Like, they are 9-0. I cannot criticize anything that's happened. This is one of the great turnarounds we've ever seen, honestly, because Indiana has been down for so long in football. They get Ohio State next week at the at the Horseshoe coming up, or in 2 weeks rather. So they get Michigan and then off week, and then they get Ohio State on the road. So we'll see what they're made of. But for Indiana, though, they've covered every game since not covering the opening win against FIU, and they're blowing you out. Every win, it feels like, or it is by double digits. So Michigan, I don't know how much value there is in them. Indiana's just a freight train right now, and I would not jump off with Indiana, even laying this amount of points.
And again, they pummeled Michigan State at Michigan State last week. Curtis Rourke, the quarterback, he's been injured. What a story. Again, they were a good story in 2020 in the COVID compressed Big Ten where they won the 5 games. They went 5-1 or whatever and had the upsets in the empty stadiums. But this is different. They've had a big noon kickoff there, the pregame show from Fox there, and they won that game. What was that, with Nebraska, I think, earlier this year? This will be interesting here with Michigan, 2-touchdown favorite for Indiana on Saturday for a chance to be 10-0 in the Big Ten. What a surprise in a topsy-turvy year. One more game that I'm interested in. We could look at 3 or 4 others, but Alabama, LSU, an underdog at home. Primetime game. Kevin is a contemporary of mine with the professional wrestling. It's like the old loser leaves town match, Kevin Rogers, because the losers got 3 losses and they're basically out of the SEC title game. They're out of the college football playoff. Any thought on that with Alabama and LSU?
Such a tough game. I mean, obviously it is every year with these two, but seeing Alabama favored on the road definitely tells you something. You know, you look back, they beat Georgia, and then they just don't show up against Vanderbilt. I know they put up 35, but Vanderbilt plays the game of a lifetime. And then they barely beat South Carolina on the road. They lose to Tennessee on the road. They got well with the shutout win over Missouri, though Missouri was a bit beat up. But then you look at LSU, and since that USC loss, the Tigers played very well until they got blown out by Texas A&M in their last game. And looking back even at last year where Alabama won in Tuscaloosa by 2 touchdowns, laying 3. Now you're laying 3 on the road. I mean, if you were to say, just give me a pick now, I'd probably lean Alabama. Remember last time it was Baton Rouge 2 years ago with Jaden Daniels when he was a quarterback of the Tigers. They won as 13.5-point dogs. All of a sudden now it's just 3-point dogs for LSU. I think that Alabama, I think they're worth a look, but I'm not going to give you a card on this one. I'm not throwing a card up on
no
Alabama.
Card on this. And again, bear in mind that LSU with Nussmeier, the 5th-year senior quarterback, had been so good. But I had them on Three Dog Thursday at Texas A&M and leading 17-7. I'm still bitter. 2 weeks later, leading 17-7. He threw 3 second-half interceptions, 2 of them in his own end, to help croak them. I know the running quarterback for A&M has made a difference, and they scored some points because of it. But you cannot turn the ball over against Alabama or you're going to get beat in this game. What a matchup for Saturday night. That's probably going to be the largest college football ratings of the year to this point for Alabama and LSU, the way that it's been hyped for this year. All right. By means of recap with my man Kevin Rogers, it is Three Dog Thursday, whether it's the podcast or the video show. You've got Rutgers, Kansas, and Maryland as your 3 underdogs for this week, 2 of them in the Big Ten. I will take Syracuse and 2 Texas teams, North Texas and Texas Tech. Anything else in closing that we left out for college football for this weekend? Any game that or team that we maybe left out that we should have maybe made mention of, or are we good and are we ready for now the 11th weekend already of college football? Anything else, Kevin?
Yeah, well, Florida State scored 15 points against Notre Dame this week. That is a big question. I'm going to go with no because they can't. The most points they've scored this year came out of the country against Georgia Tech. Just want to throw that one out there.
And you're a Seminole. The amazing thing is they don't win this game and they're 1-9. 1-9. And I reminisce on that 1993 famous game, number 1 against number 2, Charlie Ward, the Heisman winner against Notre Dame. Notre Dame upset them in 1993, 31-24. Florida State eventually still won the national title because Notre Dame lost the next week to Boston College, and Florida State eventually won over Nebraska in the Orange Bowl and won the national title. That might as well be on Pluto for Florida State football right now to have a Heisman winner and or a national title season. And Notre Dame may put it on them for this week. We'll see for that. And again, NBC will show that massacre more than likely to much of the country on Saturday afternoon. Kevin, great stuff. I look forward to much more from you with Three Dog Thursday. I appreciate you hanging out with me here on Gary's platform on the show on this Thursday afternoon with the picks. Good luck with the Underdogs, sir. Thank you as always.
Thank you, TJ. One more note on FSU. This is when we need Heidi coming up Saturday night.
Show something else, please. Show something else. Follow him at VI Rogers, by the way, as you see on the screen on the video show for Kevin, longtime with Vegas Insider, scores and odds. And we've had him here on Three Dog Thursday for years, back in the 2010s especially. Love his insight. All good stuff. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you to Gary Seegers for the platform for winningcureseverything.com and the Winning Cures YouTube page. Again, Ticket Smarter, our sponsor for the tickets for the games this week. Go Sleeves, our sponsor for the sleeves, for the elbow, the knees, the calves. Go Sleeves. Use the promo code WCE. They're great therapeutic sleeves to help you out with weekend warrior basketball, pickleball, biking, running, golf, whatever, tennis. Go Sleeves, another sponsor of ours. I think I got it all in. Woof, woof with the Underdogs. For Kevin Rogers, I'm TJ Rives. Great to be with you on Three Dog Thursday.